Alright my friends, a very good morning to you all. I want to talk to you about knife steels again. Why? Because I got a lot of questions, I got some DMs on my Facebook page and everything, and you are asking questions and I cannot reply to every question because I don't have time for this. So one guy asked me SK85 or W329er steel from Worktough Gear. I think he meant which one is better. When you watch my videos from the Worktough Gear RS, I did it in SK85 and in W329er, and from the steel perspective it was nearly the same result. Both did absolutely well. Of course it's a very thick blade, the edge is very thick, so it was not easy to destroy, and the blade nearly was completely intact after these two tests. W329er, SK85, nearly the same result on the RS. So what to buy? I would buy the cheaper one. Which one is cheaper? I would buy it. At the other tests of SK85 from Worktough Gear, most of them did very awesome. So SK85 is a pretty cool steel and it did pretty awesome. So you cannot go wrong with both of them. The new versions of Worktough Gear all have W329er, which is also very tough. You can see it at my tests from the Beer Claw and other Worktough Gear blades. Did it pretty good. So Worktough Gear is very good with their steels, very good. And doesn't matter which one, in my opinion. In case of cutting ability, maybe the W329er cuts a little bit longer, but just take the cheaper one. You are good with them. And when you ask me now what's my favorite steel right now, actually after all this testing I don't have a real favorite anymore, because now I know about 60% or more it's about the hardening, about the preparation of the steel, of the making, of the hardness of the Rockwell, how you harden the steel and everything. This makes 60% of the knife capability. I like N690 on the smaller blades, like on the Messafire blades. N690, very hard to destroy, can hold an edge, and it's stainless steel. And my all-time favorites, I mean, are still carbon steels, like 1095, 1075, cheap carbon steels. Then the carbon steel Messafire is using, they're using CR4 or something, also carbon steel. For a survival blade you need carbon. For a survival zombie apocalypse blade I still think you need a carbon steel, well heat treated, not too hardened Rockwell, and that it breaks very late. If it's maybe it's indestructible, and I don't care if I have to sharpen it 5 times more than a stainless more hardened steel, because carbon steel I can sharpen also with a stone if I have to. So survival blade, zombie apocalypse blade, carbon steel 100%. If you want to have a cool outdoor blade you can take stainless N690, AUS 8, AUS 10. The cheaper Japanese steels are also pretty awesome. Also, if you have a cheap Chinese steel, if it's well heat treated, if it's well made, it can also be a cool blade. If the price is fine, you can see this at the Netforce blades. Of course they break, but cheaper steels, better heat treated, better made materials, and they can withstand some pressure. D2, I'm not a fan of D2 because it chips out very more easy. Netforce is saying that the new blade they have, the Brave Tanto, which is T2, it did very good and it breaks out very late at my test. So the newer T2 steels, if they are real T2, are doing good as well. But on a survival or auto blade I wouldn't use T2. T2 is for me a fighting blade, a stabber. This can be T2, but not for the outdoors. I got a lot of you guys saying I should test a MagnaCut. For me still MagnaCut is a myth. Even if it's performing awesomely better and is doing everything greater than the other steels, it's still too expensive. It's still too much of this one. So I'm not buying any MagnaCut steel as long as they are expensive like this, because for me it makes no sense to have a knife like this which costs 400, 500, 600 US dollar or euro, a big one, and maybe it can survive, maybe not, but I think if it's hardened like 64, 65, like some of them are, they will break 100% more easy at the prick and at the iron rod, and just that it cuts maybe 5-6 times better than other blades, I wouldn't buy MagnaCut. So it makes for me absolutely no sense to buy MagnaCut. If you are willing to send me a blade in MagnaCut, it's okay, I will test then MagnaCut. And how often did I say now MagnaCut? MagnaCut, MagnaCut. Yeah, for me it's still a myth. Many YouTubers are promoting this steel. Maybe they get the blades for free, maybe not, I don't know. Too expensive, and it doesn't make any sense. I would buy a cheaper 1095. Makes absolutely more sense to me than this high-end MagnaCut steels. Yeah, MagnaCut. MagnaCut. I mean, and why they are saying MagnaCut and not MagnaCut? MagnaCut makes much more sense than MagnaCut. MagnaCut. One of the more higher quality steels, CPM 3V. Actually, I like 3V also. The SRK from Cold Steel did pretty cool, and 3V in some blades also did pretty awesome. Delta 3V from Carotas also did good, and the 3V from the AK-47 from Cold Steel also pretty awesome. So I think if the 3V is well done, made a 3V steel, also awesome, but still the price is more expensive than SK5 or AUS 8. So if you have the money, 3V is also a cool steel, can hold the edge probably longer than carbon steel. It's stainless, so for an outdoor blade, okay. If you are in a wet environment, 3V okay, because 1095 will rust. So 3V also cool. I mean, Infi steel from Buse did also okay, but still the Buse blades are much too expensive, so Infi makes no sense to me to buy, but it did not too bad. So Jerry Buse did also a good job on his steels. Of course they break more easy, but this is a different story now. Infi is not too bad as well, but too expensive. And some of you guys say 52110 steel is nearly the same thing than Infi, and 52100, like in some cold steel blades, they did also pretty good. And I think this is a stainless steel, 52100 stainless steel, also a good option. And there are so many steels out there, so for a normal guy who is not a knife nerd, I'm not a steel nerd. If you're not a steel nerd, I mean, it's very hard for some of you guys to know which steel is good, which one is not. But I would go with the, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, or the steel nerds, outdoor blade 1095, 1075, high-end outdoor blade, maybe 3V, maybe 52100. I wouldn't go with the typical Chinese steels, 14C, 16C. I wouldn't go with them if they are very cheap and you are in a low budget, okay. But I wouldn't go with these very cheap ones. And if you have a fighter, T2 is okay, SK5 is okay, SK5 is also a carbon steel. Yeah, I mean, Survival Lily and also but more Lily got a lot of heat for her AUS 8 version of her survival blade. AUS 8 is pretty good. It also broke, but AUS 8 is a stainless steel. She used it for an outdoor blade, which wouldn't be my choice, but AUS 8 is pretty good. It's a cheap steel. AUS 10 is nearly the same thing. So all the cheaper cold steel blades are all AUS 10 now. I think the AUS 8 versions from cold steel, the older ones, did better. But AUS 8, 10 are pretty awesome still. I wouldn't use it as a survival blade again, but I'm not judging anyone what they use for the knife blades. Everybody has his reason. And honestly, 3V is really, when I think about it, the 3V guys, the 3V blades did pretty good. And the DBK blade is in LMAX. LMAX steel can hold the edge very good, but it breaks out more easy. But it also depends how well it is made, how well it's produced. And the DBK blade was also good. DBK, my Habibis, also pretty awesome job. So we have different reasons why you make a blade. And of course, in my testing, carbon steels are usually can succeed much more easy than stainless steels. But then, you know, if the tip breaks, if it bends, some guys want the tip that it breaks, someone are okay with when it bends, to bend it back. Everybody has different reasons for the knife steels. This is just my 2 cents on this shit. I have some conversations that about cold steel CTS XHP carpenter steel. It was before on a lot of cold steel blades. I had one Espada XL in CTS HXP, and this blade, the edge retention was pretty awesome. I did a lot of things with this blade. This was before I started my YouTube channel. This blade did pretty awesomely. It's also very hard. It didn't broke out at the edge, and I sold it. I needed some money back then, or I wanted to buy some other blades. I can't remember. I sold it to a friend. I regret it because it's XHP carpenter is not available anymore, I think. I hope maybe cold steel can bring back this carpenter steel. I think it's like 3V maybe. More like 3V, I'm not sure, maybe you guys know. So this steel was pretty awesome, and maybe cold steel can bring it back because the edge retention was pretty awesome, and it would be interesting how it breaks. But I think it's similar maybe to the AUS 10 hardness, and maybe it can hold the edge better. So this would be awesome on a fighting blade, I think. So CTS XHP, one steel the industry misses. Maybe someone can bring it back and forget about this MagnaCut. MagnaCut is a myth. I also made a poll which USA knife brand is the most overrated. I had Esse, Buse, Tops and Buck, and Buse won. So most of you guys think that Buse is most overrated. I totally agree. And a lot of you guys are saying Benchmade, Bitchmade. Yes, I forgot Benchmade. Benchmade were the small knives and very expensive. And they also have now MagnaCut blades, I think. And those small MagnaCut blades, the prices are unbelievable. So Benchmade, I mean, you can break these blades with your hand, the handle. The steel is okay, but for a small blade like this, you pay 140 euro. And MagnaCut, I think 300 or so. So it's pretty ridiculous. So this Benchmade, Bitchmade just lives from their name. So I agree with you guys. Benchmade, I forgot it. It's even more overrated than Buse. Yeah, Benchmade, Bitchmade. And Esse, not many of you guys think that Esse is overrated. I agree as well. I like these Esse blades, they're just too expensive. They have 1095 steel, and the prices must be much lower than they are, especially here in fucking Europe. So, yeah. My commentators, my guys are always right. So if I do a poll, so you're totally right. The thing is, I just can make 4 choices. I cannot make 5 or 6 choices. I would do it, but 4 is the maximum YouTube is going to be. Yeah. Yeah, Tops users usually 1095 or 1075, and some of these blades did pretty awesome. So if 1095 is well made, I think it's the best choice for a survival blade. And what I heard is that they want the Joex blade also in 1095. So we will see. I mean, I'm not sure about that. Maybe you guys know that there are so many knife steel names out there, and I think some of them are completely the same, just they use a different name because it's from a different country. Victorinox uses steel. They are, how it is called in English? I forgot the word. Got it. They recycle steels. So Victorinox is recycling steel, and you get a recycled steel. Okay. Maybe this is why the new Victorinox sucks so much. Where this Imla guy, he went berserk on my YouTube video. I even forgot the name. Victorinox, I forgot the name. The fixed blade the new have. And this Imla went berserk on my comments just because his blade sucks. I mean, Imla, if your blade sucks, it sucks. And your blade sucks balls, and it's too expensive. I mean, again, you get a Mora for 5 euro and it performs better than your fucked up blade. Maybe you shouldn't recycle steel so much. Maybe your blade steel is recycled 10 times and this is why it sucks so much. But who I am to judge, right, Imla? I think you all guys know Nathan Carothas. The Carothas blade he uses 3V and it's delta heat treated, so different heat treat from Nathan Carothas, which I think is true what he's saying, that the knives performs better than usually 3V because they are well made. What do you think? Do you think the Carothas 3V is better than the normal 3V, maybe from cold steel, or it's just the same thing? I think it's a little bit better, but I cannot be too sure because the blade thickness and everything was different than on the cold steel AK-47 and the Nathan Carothas blade. But still, the good performance. Of course, it's more pricey because the Carothas blade are not as made so much as some big companies like cold steel. Of course, the prices will go up. Blade you need for the zombie apocalypse. Maybe it's the blade for you if you have the money. Again, I would go with a 1095, 1075 carbon steel for the apocalypse. So I think 60%, it's not a steel, it's a knife maker. Yeah, we are all humans. You can have a bad day in sports, for a sports competition. Bad day, you suck, you lose, you have to give up or so. And the same thing is the knife industry. Sometimes they make mistakes, which can happen. The thing is, you pay sometimes a lot of money for a blade, and then this mistake sucks, of course, but yeah, it's human nature, we all suck. And you can have the best blade on the planet, maybe it is MagnaCut. When the handle on the blade sucks, the blade is nearly useless. The handle needs to be awesome as well. My Kata G10 or whatever. So the handle needs to be comfy, comfortable, a little bit longer, suitable for your hand. Some big, some small. That's what she said. So it's not every knife is for everybody, and I think this is what I also forget a lot of times, that some people people buy knives for different reasons, and this I'm not considering in my tests. Yeah, but I'm a destruction artist. I'm not focusing on different people. I'm focusing on the destructibility, on the indestructibility. Alright, I think that's enough. Please write in the comments what you think about my questions. And as always, you can go. What's this?